Alright, this is a continuation from the last part because I kind of exceed my limit on the minutes on there. But just to recap where we're at, you instantiate your first one, second one, and you got to create your third instance field because there's 3, and you got to do 3 of the setters in each of the fields on there. Okay, total in this thing. So there's going to be 4 for each. 4 for each. 3 of them adds up to be how many? 4 times 3 is 12. So you can have 12 of these line codes here. So you got storing things in here. So let me just document as we talk, and so we don't get lost to what we're doing with this thing. So it's basically, this is the stage where you store data. That's all you're doing. Store data. That's what you're doing, and nothing hard, nothing too wild. We don't do this. This is just far and beyond labor intensive, and you have to do this for first, second, and third. When we get to the reading of the loops, it'll be a lot easier with us. Just bear with me for the time being with this thing. The second one is that you got to be able to display this concept to the screen. So we need to be able to read this to display the data. All right. So in here, what you're about to do is to display the data. How do you display the data? Remember now, you gotta make this look kind of savvy and decent enough to actually do this thing. Remember the system in an equivalent statement that we do is cout. Here is system what? System out print. All right. So system out dot what? Print. We're just going to do a print line and moves the cursor to the next line, and I'm going to put in a string to make it look like, and we want to display the first employee. Just do one of these things, employee number 1, and close your, make that quote with it. So the basic syntax with this, and with this ln, this is going to take the cursor down to the next line, and you need to tell them what is the name. Okay, so I'm going to snag this line here. Make sure you don't have any syntax errors or whatever you have with it, and be careful with this thing. And I'm going to gut this part out in this thing, and I'm going to do name space name colon. Now I'm going to edit this line so you can see what I'm about to do. We're going to use a plus for concatenation. We'll add it with. Now, how do I read the first employee's name, Susan Meyer, that I just stored into the name set employee with this? Remember now, you got employee 1, right? So here's this employee. This is all writing to it. You put your employee 1 here, use the dot syntax, come over to your code on this side of this, and if you notice, you wrote a get name. Look at that, the get name method. So I'm going to take that get name method. Why is this important? This is a public method I'm going to put here. Now, I want to point out something. There's a reason why that this says field up here is private. In order for you to access the field, you got to go through the method. That's why it is a private. You can't access this field directly from here by doing employee1.name. That is not allowable. It's not secure. You need to protect that data as much as possible with it. So there's a certain level of security how it is with it, and why this is public with it. To access the field, you got to go through the methods. Okay, so this is how you output by using your objects that you just created. This employee 1 is this employee 1. And this get name right here allows you to get there because you're using the employee class. This is your employee class over here. That allows you to get to the get name. Okay. So once you do this, this should actually read from the memory that get name is out here, which is Susan Myers. Okay. So I'm just going to do a couple of these things for you to see so you can get the hang of this thing, and I'd like for you to finish this out with it. This thing is the same thing goes as, I'm going to do the same set of methods on here. So I'm going to do print, instead of here, in this field, I'm going to call what? ID number. And this ID number is, I'm going to call the get method, get ID number method over here. And I just put in that method right here. get ID number. Okay, so you got two of them. Again, I'd like for you to finish the rest of this thing. This is just for one employee. So you gotta do for the rest of these things. So you're gonna have another set of this thing. Just put an ellipsis so you can see what I'm talking about. That's just for one employee. You gotta do that for how many other employees? You gotta do it for employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. So once you do all of that, let me move the cursor up here so you can see a little higher what I'm talking about and check the time out. So once you gotta do that for all of the 3 employees that you're gonna display out here. So do this for 1, 2. Remember now, change that. Make sure you have 2s. Make sure you have proper syntax before you copy and paste, or else you're gonna be pasting a whole bunch of syntax across the ways with this. And you do 3, and make sure you again. Okay, so you call the methods, you read and write for you to see, and you just demonstrate that out with it. Okay, so this concludes the number 1 on page programming what I just do. Okay, so let me the next thing is I'm going to compile this thing. I'm going to demonstrate what's going on in this thing. All right, so let me pause for a moment. Okay. Let me pick up where we left off so we can actually see this. I have saved my employee demo class in the Java bin directory, and I compiled the employee. I got my class file. Now I'm about to compile my employee demo in this thing. So here it is, and I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to do Java C employee employee demo.java, and both of them compile okay. Now I need to run my employee demo. When I run it, Java space the name of the file without its file extension, it gives me this, and this is what I'm looking at. This is what it should tell me is the output onto the screen is employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 with its proper naming that I stored in there. Okay, so make sure if you can follow along. If you have any question, please email me, or any troubles that you have, let me know with us, because this is what you should have up to this point. Okay, all right, good evening.